Hey everybody, Nick here, and today we're going to do some exploration. And where we're exploring is inside this little guy right here. This is a knife from Gerber. I have actually forgotten the name of this knife from Gerber, but nonetheless, it'll be in the title of the video. So there you go. Not the strongbow, is it? Maybe I'm on crack. I don't know. Either way, we're going to go on ahead and take this guy apart. What we see here is actually very interesting. What we see is that these three screws go all the way through into what appears to be maybe an aluminum or some other variety of part metal on the other side there. So these screws go all the way through, and then this last screw doesn't go all the way through, obviously, because otherwise blade couldn't deploy. And so we need to take this guy apart from the show side, from the looks of it. Are these all T6? Yeah, your T6. Okay. Let's see if we can take this out. Yeah, no thread locker. So one important thing here, and one thing that's scaring me a little bit, actually, before we go any further, the centering on this guy is a little bit off, favoring the show side. That's not amazing, but it is kind of what it is. It's a relatively inexpensive knife, if memory serves. Okay, so I'll put that guy there. And then, oh, the pivot isn't even exposed, so I need to take off this scale to even get to the pivot. But this has both an Axis-style sliding bar lock as well as an assist. And so I'm very curious how they're doing that. I think this should be ready to pop through. Or maybe not. Why are you not coming loose yet, buddy? Maybe you just needed a little more love. Come on. Okay, well, we're going to let that just run for the moment. Okay, there you go. That guy's popped out. Why are you not coming out? What's your problem? Let me use this watch spring bar tool to see if I can't coax that screw the rest of the way out. There we go. Easy enough. Oh, it was hung up on some thread lock. Okay, so there's that. And I've now done, actually, I'll move these screws. I'm kind of using this mat here to organize the screws as they're coming in and out, just to make it so I don't, forget which one is which. The others look roughly the same, but maybe I can't vouch for that. Okay, so I'm going to take off this part carefully. Oh, my God. Okay. Okay. So what we have here is something that feels a little like, I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to deploy the blade on this. And there's, by the way, also a safety on this guy. So that's something we have to have working right at the end of this, too. I'm going to go ahead and deploy the blade. That should take some of the tension off of this spring here. Yeah, okay, so what we see here is that this spring, which is filled with some variety of grease or another, looks almost like just a white lithium grease, which is fine. I mean, that works, I suppose. But this little screw here, or this little spring, goes into the blade, and this is what's providing us with the assisting force. This is not, I think the style of it is different, but it feels spiritually, or at least in terms of engineering, pretty similar to the Kershaw Speed Safe style. So again, there's that. Wipe this off here. Okay, how the heck does this action work? It feels like there's a spring on this as well. Maybe it's on the other side. Is there a spring on this, or is that just... Yes, there is. Okay, look at that little tiny hole. I'll see if I can point to it. Right here. Inside there is a little tiny hole, and there is a little tiny spring in there. And I bet that little tiny spring is going into the equivalent of this hole on the other side. Oh, come on. I just noticed that the pivot goes in the other side. Okay, so what that means is that I need to take off both the clip as well as this screw here to be able to undo the pivot. Oy, oy, oy. Okay, this is going to be an odyssey. I'll take this off here. And you go here. And then I need to remove the clip, which is 2 more T6 screws. All of this is T6 for some reason. I'll keep these clip screws separated out. Oh boy, this is going to be touch and go. This has been sitting on my desk for a while. Not because of anything personal, of course, but just because I've known that this disassembly had the potential to turn into an odyssey. And an oddity for that matter, but certainly an odyssey. And now I need to pop this side off. And why are you not doing that? What is stopping you? What made you how you are? Which is a very common question people ask me. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I need to find some little place to get this tool under so I can start lifting this scale off. Okay, what am I missing here? This isn't holding anything on. Why are you not wanting to come loose? Could it be thread locker? It could be thread locker. I'm going to get this little tool in here and then just try and gently coerce this is apart. There we go. See, I'm just getting in there very gently and sort of lifting up and apart. Beautiful. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll just kind of run this tool. I'll just kind of throw the knife. But I'll just kind of run this tool around. Hopefully. Okay. Oh, God. Well, I called it. I kind of wish I didn't, though. Okay. So, what I'm seeing here, we have 4 different springs in this knife. We have the 2 Omega style springs out the side here, which I will pop out now, just so they don't go flying across the room and eat themselves out of existence someplace. Can I get you off of here? Yes, I can. Okay, access lock spring number 1. Oh, I'm sorry. This is, of course, not. Yeet! All right, where'd you go? Okay, so the scary thing is when you don't hear it land, right? Sometimes these springs hit my Batman mask. That makes it quite easy for me, because that produces a nice, satisfying thunk. Other times, though, you never hear them land. And that's when you know, oh, there it is. Okay, good. Okay, so this thinner of the spring, so there are a couple of different varieties of spring. This one does not have the curly Q around it, and it's a thinner grade of spring. So the thicker ones go to the sliding bar, the thinner ones go to the lock, well, not lock, well, kind of lock, the safety, I suppose. All right, and I now know for future reference that safety spring is liable to auto-yeet. Okay, let's go ahead and get under there. Pop loose, you damn spring. Like, I know that you're going to try and pop loose on your own in 20 minutes when I'm trying to put you back together. But, don't fight me now. Okay. So, now I just pop this access lock spring, this sliding bar lock spring out. That allows me to pop this guy through. Okay, now the final step here is now we have a completely free swinging blade. I'll go ahead and use the lock doesn't have a spring anymore, but I'll hold that spring in place just to make sure. Good, still T6. No thread locker. Why do you have to do this from the other side? I guess I'd have to take it apart anyways. There's your pivot screw. Now the whole thing lifts apart. Okay, good. There is my lock. This is my stop pin. These are the tiniest little brass washers ever, but they are brass washers. That's a win. And now we will go ahead, put those in there. Okay, great. So that just came loose too. That's fine. I don't care. Pop the pivot out. Why not? This is a thing right here. This disassembly is non-trivial. No part of this is super straightforward, but that's okay. That's why they pay me the mediocre bucks, right? So as I'm cleaning this guy up, a couple of observations. Stonewashed. I don't know what that issue is, but it's like an inclusion or something. I don't know. Clean off the world's smallest pivot here. It's a weird knife. This is so weird. Like, who came up with this? Who is sitting there and going, I know. This is probably going to suck to put back together. I suspect that getting all these springs in proper alignment is not going to be straightforward. But we'll see. And I'm going to go ahead, and you know what? I'm not going to remove the grease that's sitting in there because we'll need it in there anyways. So might as well use their grease. Okay, so this needs to go with this part to the... how do I reassemble this? Okay, step one, I'm going to put the pivot into its position. Yeah, and actually, I'll clean this side off too, because why not? Okay. Step one, place pivot into position here. That's in place. And playing tiddlywinks with my freaking... Yeah, okay. Step two, lubrication. I'll go ahead and I will throw down the washer here, and I'll put a little knife pivot lube onto it. Did I already shout out the tools video? Yeah, regardless, in case you're curious about the tools I'm using, Shabazz.com has a list of tools for you that you will find quite comprehensive and quite helpful in your everyday life of disassembling pocket knives. Okay, that was way too much, but that's okay. X on Shabazz, at it again. This dispenser on this knife pivot lube is just like, boom, here comes the lubricant. Okay, next step is the stop pin, which is hollow. Okay. No, that's not the stop pin at all. Although the stop pin is hollow. This is another pin, so I bet it's that pin, because it fits there too. Unless it's this pin? No, that's the screw hole. Okay, cool. Let's put that there. And then the threading is not on the steel liner. It's in this other chunk back here. Okay. So, let's go ahead and drop in this side of things. Oh, it needs to be hollow such that the screw can go through it. Okay. I'm gonna just nod. Is the D shape on the pivot in the proper position? Looks like it is. Yes. Okay. Is there anything else that needs to be? Yeah, hey, backspaces. Those are important, right? Let's go ahead and put the backspacer into position here. Good. Good. Oh, damn it. I just popped off this washer. There's the washer. Okay, backspacer, you go in place. Get in place. Come on. Okay. Oh, now the freaking... This is supposed to be the easy part. Okay, there we go. In terms of the amount of disassembly complexity for your dollar, this is likely to be the bargain of the year. Okay, I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but it's certainly a thing. I'm going to use some thread locker here, because God knows I'm not taking this apart again. This is some blue thread locker on a stick here, and I'll go ahead and just drop it into position here. Okay. So there is that. That is now in place. Everything else looks like it's where I want it. So life is good. Okay. Now, which side did I start from? I started from this side. This side is... Does it actually matter which side I put what in? I've just over-tightened the pivot a lot. That's okay. Actually, that's not okay. I want to make sure that's not too crazy. That's right, it's Alt T6 for some reason. So I'll loosen that up a little bit. Right now, the pivot is going to be completely free spinning, or free moving, I suppose. And right now, it's a very thin knife, right? There we go. Is there play? It's kind of hard to tell with everything half taken apart, but I'm going to go ahead and kind of give it a little bit more crank there. Just so that, because I know I've got an assist here, the action doesn't need to be amazing, and it'll kind of wear in and loosen up over time, and I don't want to put this whole thing back together and then realize, wait a second. I guess I can put the other handle on first, and that'll give me a sense. Okay, next step is going to be to pop in this bar here. This bar went with the tabs facing backwards. I dropped that in here. Good. Okay. Did I screw this up in any meaningful way? No, I did not. Okay, good. Next step is install the springs. And the first spring I'm going to do is on the which spring is this? Is this side? Yeah, I think so. Because these are lateral, so let's figure this out. No, are they? Are these the same damn part? Am I being an idiot? Probably is the answer to that generally. No, these are mirror image parts. Okay, great. So now which one is which? This needs to go here. This is one of those moments where I'm really feeling the whole not being a brilliant man thing. Yeah, I think we're okay. All right, cool. Sorry, went off camera for a second there. Where is my field of view? Okay, I'm going to move my mat forward so that way I don't go off field of view again. Okay, so, and I put the bar in upside down. Let's try this again, because I could tell by the little Gerber logo. Needs to be right side up. Okay. There we are. Let's go ahead and put this into position. I'll pop this. So, how many of you all have been shouting vociferously at me, Nick, you idiot, put in the lock? Yeah, no doubt there's no shortage of you doing exactly that. And that's because you are hashtag brilliant people. I am not so much. Okay, which direction does this go? This guy needs to go here. And now we pop that into place. Once we've done so, oh, there went my back pin. Luckily, that doesn't cost me too much time. So I'm happy about that. And again, we'll adjust the pivot here. Let me make sure once I crank this down a little bit that the lock is doing the right thing. Yeah, okay, good. Yep, lock is in place. And that should actually, we can function check it. Now with this held in place, yeah, blade's not coming open. Good. Okay, good. Good. What else did I leave out of here? I'm looking at all my other parts. I think we're good. All right, so let's go ahead and loosen this up a little bit just to give me a little more play. Not side to side, but just a little bit more tight. Tighten you up. A little more loose. And because I've used some thread locker, it should stay there. Oh boy. This is 17 minutes and we're just getting started. Oh, that's for the assist. Okay, good. All right. Next step is going to be to install the lock. I've been here before. At that time, I thought I was a brilliant man, but indeed I am not. So let's go ahead and pop this in here. Okay. You idiot, put in the lock. Reminds me of the famed Rask bearing incident, where I disassembled and reassembled the Grimsmo Knives Rask the very first day I got it. And as I did that disassembly, I promptly forgot to reinstall the bearing. Turns out that bearing knives don't run that well when you don't put the bearing in them. It's a little detail, but it's an important one. Okay, I'm going to use this. This is a watch spring bar tool, but one of the things it has is this little kind of corner. That's great for moving springs around, because I can do that. And I can pop that in place. And once I've done so, then this spring, there we go. That spring goes into place. Next, put this other spring in on the other side. Do exactly the same damn thing. Whew. This is an odyssey. You know, it's always nice to know that you didn't underestimate a problem. I kind of wish I was wrong, but, you know, I've been holding off on this guy thinking, oh, this is going to take some time. This evening, I thought to myself, for the first time in actually a good while, because things are finally adjusting at work to the remote environment that I was sort of managing that transition for, at least for my division, and, so my life has been getting just eaten completely and totally by that process. And so this was one of the first nights for a good long time that I have had the time to do something as ridiculous as take apart this freaking knife. And, you know, so I figured I had up to an hour for this. Probably a little more if I needed it, but I want to make sure, though, that I didn't pop this guy open only to have to do something silly like go to dinner or... Okay, I think that should do the trick. Now, next step is to get this thing, get this handle on, because I badly, badly do not want any of those springs to come loose. Have you come loose yet? No. Good. I'm going to put this guy in place, and I'm going to use some thread locker because I really deeply don't want to have to get back up in here anytime soon. There we go. Did I just lose a spring? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to assume that I did not. That's probably false. But I'm going to go ahead and pretend that that's the world we live in. I don't generally advocate denial. I think denial is one of the very most dangerous things you can do because then you lose track of reality. All your data's just goes to crap. There are problems, but this is a case here where you know, the cost of denial is relatively low, and the benefit to my soul of believing for just a moment that both of those springs are still in place, even when I have no evidence to the contrary, or to support that. That feels better. All right, so now I check. Hey, it looks like they both are. Nice. And then this is working. Okay, good. So the lockup is fine. There's no blade play. That's good. Getting close. Actually, we're getting surprisingly close. Next step is going to be to install the the assist bar. And actually, you could deassist this knife, although it doesn't, I don't think, have a detent when you don't. Yeah, so it'd be a really crappy, basically a two-hand opener. But if assisted knives are illegal in your parts, this could be an option for you, although why? Why on earth would you? Why? I am doing this exactly backwards. That's okay. I'm going to go ahead and apply a little bit of lubrication just to the tip of the assist bar there. Put that in place, put that there. Okay, now, next step is to lift this and put this on there. Before I do the full crank down here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to install a couple of screws. Just enough to hold this scale in place, because the scale is actually an important part of this process with the assist going on, because the assist spring is going to kind of want to come out this way, come out back toward the camera, and I don't want it to do that. So having the scale on will help prevent that. Some of you thinking, well, Nick, you took a lot of the grease out. Do you want to replace that? Not really. No. I could, certainly, but I don't feel a super strong need to. Why is this? Why don't you want to go home? Did I switch these screws? Or is that just the way that this is? I think I switched the screws. That's at least what I'm telling myself right now. Well, okay. I'll function check the knife. Centering is actually dead on. Deploys cleanly. Closes. There you go. Lock. Works. Okay, so the knife works now. That's nice. That's real nice. Okay. Now the next question here is, have I swapped these screws around? No, I don't. Maybe I haven't. Maybe they did. Because I'm pretty sure I took these out and put them on in the same ordering as usual. Okay. So that one's put in place. That's good. Next up, maybe I just need to put a little more grunk on this. Give it a little bit more push to get to make it sort of go into place. So maybe I'll put this last one in on the back side here, and hopefully that'll get everything in position. We are looking at 24 minutes, which actually, assuming I haven't screwed this up in some meaningful way that'll reveal itself shortly, is a little better than I expected. I figured this was going to suck a lot more than that. Oh, okay. Why don't you want to go home? What's wrong with you, screw? Do you want to back out? Is that what's going on here? Is this screw hole just stripped out? Is that a possibility? Okay. Did this screw break off in there? No. This feels like a screw that is just not long enough, honestly. Now the question is one of these other two too long? No, that's, I think, too short for there. Looks almost like the screw threads are a little strippy. Not loving this. Luckily, I don't actually think it needs this screw particularly. I mean, you want it, but it doesn't need it. Do I have another screw here? Am I screwing this up somehow? Eh? Am I just coating the whole damn thing in cyanacrylate and calling it a day? What's wrong here? Is there a screw piece that's broken off someplace around this vicinity? Is everything going to be okay? Is life good? Is there a way to push this in a more meaningful way? Kinda. I feel like maybe, before I put too much force into the whole affair, let's pop this out and see. Is there something under the head of the screw here that's causing this to not be able to seat properly? No. It really does look like the end of this screw is sheared right off, but I sure don't see it. Maybe it sheared off and then fell off. Is this all the way in? I guess it is, because there's just very little embedding there. Oh, it sounded like it might have hit a thread. Okay. Well, whatever it is, this ain't so swinging. What if I put a little more force on this? No, it's in as deep as it's going. Okay. Well, am I going to? Looks like I'm going to. Right now we have a situation. We have a situation where this screw inside here is in its little position, but it's not actually cleanly threading in. I suspect that is because the screw broke off, and likely that screw is broken off and that little piece of the screw has come out already. I'll check the tape again. But we find ourselves in a quandary. We'll go on ahead, and I'm going to use red thread locker, red Loctite. This is a bad idea. I think it's a fine idea for what I'm doing right now, but it is a bad idea generally. You should not be using the Red Devil, because once you make a deal with the Red Devil, it's forever. This is a permanent thread locker. But I'm going to go in ahead and I'm going to liberally coat the back of this thing with the Red Devil here. And then I will push this into place. And I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to go a little deeper with it. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of extra Red Devil to the back here. And I feel super embarrassed if this is just the wrong screw or something. But by putting that in there, what this should do is over the next 24 hours or so, it should bind itself up. This should turn into effectively a permanent bond that will keep this screw in place. It's not great. I mean, I shouldn't have to be doing this, but what it will do... How did this... Has the pivot loosened? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with life? Why is this now bad? What happened here? This was just deploying. Did one of my screws come loose? Or one of my springs come loose? Is my assisted? Didn't the assist fall out? This was going so well. Actually, no, it was going pretty awfully. Why are you wrong? What's wrong with you? Okay, I've just made a big deal about maybe I over-tightened one of these things. And as a result, yeah, probably this one actually. So if I over-tighten that, oh, yeah, that's my issue. I over-tightened this top screw here, and what that did is because this standoff doesn't have tight tolerances holding this apart, what that ended up doing to me was it bound it ended up, oh God, that's stripping too. Okay, I need to stop turning these screws. But when I turned this guy too tight, it bound the blade basically a little bit. And that's not great. And so now what we have is a knife that has, and by the way, it had a little bit of vertical play to start with. Not terrible, but a little bit of it. It can go away if you kind of press it a little bit. If you press the lock bar in a little. Actually, let's see if I can get rid of that by doing a little lubrication on the top here. Oh boy, this is a thing. Still a little bit of vertical play. Why are you not happening? That is, in fact, the stop pin. One of the things I just wanted to check is to see whether I'd swapped the stop pin here. But no, this one back here is showing all the marks that would indicate it to be the stop pin. And so I suspect that what's just going on here is that, you know, there's vertical play, right? There's a little bit of gap between the top of the stop pin. Actually, here. I'm going to try one more thing, and then I'm going to not dick with this anymore because already this back thing is stripping out and that screw is broken. But what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to rotate this little stop pin here so that the contact face, the face that was touching the blade previously, is touching the blade again. Just to make sure that it's not the case that this is slightly, ovular, basically, and that actually, that did reduce the play a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tighten this back down. So it's, did you just strip off? No. Okay. Is that too tight? No. There's still some play, but it's a little less. So it feels like this stop pin is actually slightly oval-shaped. And so I brought the play. Why is this? Oh, I just didn't tighten those enough. Okay. Good God. This is just not a win. How are you rotating? What's... Okay, I'll tighten you a little more because, oof. All right, so we have gotten this guy. There's no side-to-side play. A little bit of vertical play. It's not the dangerous kind because with this kind of lock, it's not coming loose anyways. It doesn't make it great. Deployment works fine. We're not going to talk about what happened back here. Lock works fine. Safety works fine. Whew. All right. Well, that was a thing. There you go. I hope you found this interesting. Do not do that. The time flies when you're doing that. But anyways, hope you found this interesting. And most of all, have yourselves just an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. And do not disassemble this knife. Oh, good God, do not. No. Bye now.